Hi, I'm Paul with MadCap Software, and I'm here to tell you what is brand new in this release of MadCap Flare Online for late September 2025. We have a couple of things for you. One has to do with colors and track changes, and the other has to do with some changes for checklists. So let's get into it, and I'll explain each one. The first change in this release is super simple, super easy, and quick. This has to do with the editor when you are making changes. Changes are tracked. For example, you're in the review section and you're editing a topic, and maybe other people are editing it too. Well, you're able to easily see what your changes are and what their changes are because automatically you each get a different color. So for example, this is a change right up here from one user, and then you come down here and the next user made a couple of changes in this paragraph and you can see the colors different. And a third user has made a change down here, in addition down in this final paragraph. So it's just something that you automatically get, just makes it easier than it was before to keep track of whose changes are whose. The other changes in this release have to do with checklists and the way that they're created and how you use templates. And there isn't a whole lot that's different, except that now checklists work with wizards as opposed to dialogue. So it's more like the rest of the user interface. So when you're creating a checklist template, you're going to be using wizards. You also have this permissions that you need to set if you're going to go do this. So I clicked on my avatar there, go to permissions, and over here on the right under projects, you see manage checklists. So you just want to make sure that you have that enabled in order to work with checklists. Now let's go over here on the left to projects, and I'm going to open this one right here, San Diego, down at the bottom, and up at the top, you want to find checklists and select that. Now, I don't have any checklists yet. Let's go ahead and create one. So you click this right here to create a new checklist, and you get a wizard instead of a dialog here. So I'm just going to create a simple one called my checklist, and it can be, as always, based on project files or a generic list. I'll go ahead and do it project files, and you can also select a template in here. And the one that I have set up for project files is topics, and so I'm just going to go ahead and select that. Now, branch. You can select any branches that you have created. Now, if you haven't created any special branches, it's always just going to be master. But I always advise people, as a best practice, to select a different branch. And if you're not familiar with branching, I highly recommend you go look into it. Go to the MadCap Software website and look for the videos that I did on source control. And it's really based on Flare Desktop, but it's the same principles. And you'll see some videos on branching. And so check those out and it'll explain what branching is about, how to use it, and why I think that you should be selecting a different branch, usually a feature branch. So let's say I wanted to select feature 2. That way I'm keeping track, I'm creating a checklist based on something that's in progress. It's not finished yet, and that's kind of what checklists are about. So I did that, and I can give it a description. I'm just going to say my description down here. That's optional, and then click next. Now I'm going to go in and put in my columns. I selected my template, so I already have a bunch of columns in here by default, but if I wanted to add a new one, I could just say something like finalize, I don't know. And I will click this plus button and it adds it down here to the bottom. I can use these to move it up and down, same as you've always been able to do. Click next. Now the rows, because I selected project files instead of a generic list, it is looking at this project that I have open, which in this case is my San Diego project. And I can deselect or select any files that I want to include in this checklist. And so, for example, maybe I just want all of these topics in here included in this. And if this were a generic checklist, you would, of course, manually put in what your rows are. Click next. You get a summary. This is everything that you've supplied about this checklist, and you click Create Checklist. Okay, so we have a checklist. We just used the wizard for it instead of the old dialogue. Now, another thing about checklists in this release is if you were to click the avatar for the checklist, you're going to get this dialog, and this will allow you to go in and make any changes about it, and it gives you much more information than you would have gotten before. So you get some graphics in here. You can change your settings, the name of this, the branch. You can go in and change your columns, rows, see the activity, and you can also save it as a template. So if you click that, it's going to take you through another wizard, which I'll go through here in a second. So that's just going to allow you to keep all of this stuff you've put into this checklist. And maybe you're going to create new checklists in the future that are like that, and you don't want to redo all that work. Well, go ahead and just save that thing as a template so you can leverage it in the future. I'm going to X out of that. So that is what this dialogue is about. Now, I could create the save it as a template that way. I can always go up here into my template manager too, click on that, and you can see here are the two templates that I already have. One that's called a to-do checklist, one that's a topic checklist, and I've got settings in here automatically. Well, if I want to create a brand new checklist template, I can just click this, and there is the wizard. I'm going to just say that my checklist template. And let's say I want this one to be generic. I'll do that and supply a description if you want. I'm going to leave that blank, click next. And this is my first column. It could be, anything that makes sense to you to put as your column names. I am just doing first column, second column, and I'll do a third column. So I'm pressing enter at the end of that. You can do that, or you can just click this plus button. And then you click next once you're done with that. And of course, use these to move up and down or delete a column if you change your mind, don't want it anymore. Click next. Now we need rows. I'm going to say first row, and I'll do second row. Enter. And let's say that's all I care about. All right, so I click next and create my checklist template, and I cancel out of that. Now, if I want to create a brand new checklist, I can come up here and under template, there is that checklist template. And I select that, and it's already got, well, need to put in a name in here. I'm just going to say name and come into here. And you can see it's already got my first, second, third columns, my rows, so I'm just leveraging what I already had before. Right, and that's it for this release. A couple of real easy things, but designed to make your life better as you work in Flare Online. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.